Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Ghost Education 101. I am super excited to be here tonight. We have an amazing guest lineup. Of course, I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Philip Wyatt. Thank you for being here again tonight, Philip.
Wouldn't be here, but where else would I be?
You'd have me messaging you, where are you?
Got home 45 minutes ago. In that amount of time, fed the dogs, fed myself, and here I am.
At least you got to be able to eat.
Yes, yeah.
We cheated and went and got pizza just so we'd have time to have something to eat.
That's what I had was pizza too. It was
our traditional Wednesday night dinner.
There you go.
And tonight we do have some other guests who will be joining us a little late, but we are joined right now by David Taylor. David, thank you for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And everyone knows who Philip and I are. So can you let everybody know a little bit more about yourself?
Oh, wow. I started Our Haunted Lives in 2020. And so we really started out as a really strong investigative team doing a lot of things around North Carolina. But then we really kind of got into, with my background in radio, of really going into interviews, of really interviewing some really well-known people also, but grassroots people, because the grassroots is really what really fuels the paranormal and the paranormal community and paranormal unity. And so what we did is really kind of transform that into really with Christy Grissom and myself. Christy, shout out, to really kind of get into Paracons and teach people really how to really kind of how to start to podcast or vodcast and things like that, of how you need to have a good microphone. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like crap on anybody here, because you guys sound really good and your backgrounds are fine and things like that. But
we know our faults.
Yeah, no. But we really with the backing of Paraflix, because we're showing Paraflix, and just different things like that. It really kind of parlayed into us being able to go into really some of the really good locations and some of the lesser known locations of the paranormal, and really trying to help people out. So I'm just really really kind of honored to be here. So I'm kind of nervous actually. So
well, thank you for joining us. And real quick, Steve couldn't make it tonight.
Stevie Dills.
That he couldn't be here, but in his place we have Chris. And Chris, thank you for joining us tonight.
What's going on, brother?
Hey, it's no problem. Sorry it took me forever. I was fighting my camera. It just didn't want to sync up with anything.
Oh yeah. No, we've all been there.
Yep.
Yeah, we've had Steve on the show, so he knows who I am.
And Chris, real quick, can you let everybody know a little bit more about yourself before we get things started?
Yeah, so my name is Chris Vaughn. I'm one of the lead investigators on Transcend Paranormal. I also have a podcast called Campfire Chronicles Podcast as well. And I've kind of been in the field on and off since probably 11th grade, so junior year. Didn't really dive back deep into it till about 3 years ago. But ever since then, I've just kind of been doing my own thing and, working with Transcend and podcasting and the realm of everything. So, and I apologize about my background looks like I'm in jail.
No.
My room is a complete disaster.
They don't have coffee mugs like that in jail.
No, they do not.
So I've heard.
Or comfy chairs like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, real quick, I know we had mentioned in our event that Larry Lawson was going to be joining us, but he had a family emergency tonight, so he will not be here tonight. He apologizes profusely. He kept messaging me saying how sorry he was. Hopefully, we will have Joe Frankie, who trained directly with Ed and Lorraine Warren, joining us later tonight.
Yeah.
And then Christopher George from Anubis Paranormal is supposed to be joining us as well. But if he did what he did the last time I interviewed him, he has the time zones wrong. So he'll at least be here in an hour.
Okay.
As long as he got my message, if that's the reason why he's not here yet. So hopefully he'll be here. But to get things started, I know it's odd. I've had this plan for weeks. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, there's all this drama in the paranormal field, and it's like I
missed something. There's something.
Are you talking about PD?
Everything.
Like paranormal drama, PD?
Yes. Yes.
Like
No, that doesn't happen.
What are you talking about?
It's just blown up lately, and I don't get it. So it was like perfect timing that we play. I mean, and we've had this show planned for quite a while.
Yeah.
So it was just
we conjured up the drama so we could talk about it.
So it makes for perfect timing. And the last thing I want to do in this show is, bring up the drama or anything like that. But I do have.
We're gonna bring it up now. Come on.
Some questions. Well, part of the drama is Philip messaged me, "Do you have any questions for tonight?" And I'm like, "Nope."
I'm driving home, sitting at a stoplight, like, got questions ready for tonight?
No.
Yeah, sure.
So I've been working the last half hour coming up with some questions in case the conversation slows down. But anyone, please feel free to ask any questions you have, even if it's not about our topic tonight. But the topic I wanted to discuss is the concept of paraunity, and I'll use quotation marks around paraunity, and team conduct. So the first question on the list, of course, would be, what does paraunity mean to you? So whoever wants to take that one first.
It's the same concept as world peace.
Okay.
It looks good on paper.
I'm getting tired from that one.
Yeah, Chris, that's good. Who wants to go first?
I'm quoting that and making a meme.
Uh-huh.
Well, when I think of paraunity, I think of when teams try to kind of work together. There's a thing that we're doing now, and I'm not going to promote myself or anything tonight or things like that. But there's things that I'm working on for the summer that has really kind of exploded OHL of what we're doing. That really kind of gives us a summer tour and people we're working with, and really kind of enjoying of what other people are doing and their kind of accomplishments that they have. Now, though, I know there's jealousies and things like that of we really want to do things that other people are doing or trying to get into places, but hard work pays off. And when hard work pays off, people want to work with you. And I don't know, can somebody kind of take it from here of kind of what I'm saying of just really enjoying what other people are doing and not really getting jealous about it?
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from, but unfortunately, like, there's still going to be a jealousy. I try to be friends with everybody until you give me a reason not to be nice to you. And when it comes to like paraunity, yeah, you're absolutely right. If we actually start working together, either it's individuals or teams, we can then start getting into more locations. And along with more locations, if you do like with transit, we do a bunch of when we do our public investigations, that all the money to that goes back to the sites. So when you have a couple different teams can work together, or multiple teams in the area can work together and build a big either a paracon or just a public investigation and be able to work together and communicate well, then at the end of the day, the sites that you are there for are the ones that are benefiting. So if there's like a small tiff or something like that, I don't have any issue. Like I said, I don't have any issue with anybody in the paranormal community. But if you have any kind of issues see if you can push that off to the side for the betterment of the location.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I stand on it.
Oh, it's a very good point. It's a very good point, and it's but Chris, to kind of counter that point, when you get into that location, then people just get jealous because they've been trying to get in there, and then
Oh,
they start
100%.
bad mouthing, and you're like, what did I do? And you're just like, dude, if you want to come down, you can investigate also. just
The,
just
the,
ask.
the way that I always looked at it is,
Yeah.
I don't own the site. I
Yeah.
don't own the location.
Yeah.
If I'm being allowed access to this location, then I feel like it's an honor. I feel like it's a privilege. Basically like a driver's license. It's a privilege to have it. You don't need it. And like I said, I don't own it. So therefore, I'm not treating it as my own. I'm treating it with respect like it would be my own, but it is not my location. I do not own the deed to this. Therefore, I don't have a say in who goes in there or what goes in there. I might have an opinion, but that's, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's an opinion. It's not hard facts.
Yeah, for sure.
The one thing that comes up with this is the other part of the topic, which is team conduct. There are teams that go in and ruin it for others to go to a location.
Sure.
We've heard that here, where teams have gone in and left the location trashed and beer cans and garbage laying around, and then they would stop allowing paranormal investigations. So, that's kind of hard on all of us when you've got a team that just misbehaves, and we all have to pay the price for it. So professionalism in what we do is such a big part of what we do. And some people just don't have it, which is kind of sad.
No, that's true.
Yeah, and I mean, the concept of Paraunity is fabulous.
Yeah.
The idea that we should all be getting along, that we should all be sharing our evidence, and that we should be working together, the idea of it is great. But the actual way that people have transformed the term Paraunity into, I'm a paranormal investigator, you must blindly follow me, it disturbs me, because I don't support. I mean, if I've investigated with you, or I know your techniques, or I've talked to you extensively, then yes, I'll support you because you work like I do, or you're reputable. But if I don't know who you are and you've only been investigating for 2 months, I'm not going to throw my whole support behind you until I know more about you.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to go last with that answer, because that kind of leads me into my next question of, do you think we should blindly accept all investigators without knowing them, their process, or experiences?
Ooh, that's super tough. That's super tough. And that kind of comes to the thing of, what we tell people on our show, if you would like to get into investigating, because I know a lot of people really like to kind of jump in with, head first, or, 2 feet in and stuff like that. I really like to kind of guide people to maybe like a ghost hunt weekend, or like haunted nights, or, whatever you do, Chris, or whatever, of like a public investigation. Because you have to know what you're actually getting into, because it's no joke, and people watch these things and they think like, it's always great and stuff like that, and when something isn't happening, like within the first 10 minutes, people really kind of get, they go, oh no, let's pull out the spirit box, this, that, the other thing, and they're trying to do their gimmicks instead of actually investigating. So it just comes down to really what they want, and what they want to do. So, if you're really serious about it, yes, I will work with you. But if you're not, then I kind of have to say, okay, I can still help you along, and kind of back me up on this. Am I in the wrong here, or no?
I love to be encouraging to newer people in the field. That's one thing the Ghost did while we did it, is to guide the newer people in the right direction.
Mhm.
But then when you see they're not wanting to go in the right direction and they want to do the demon stuff and they want to do things they shouldn't do, then you don't want to invest your time into those
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And that's happened with me. I've had them email me on my team like, oh, do you take people on investigations with you? And all this, we explain we can't for liability reasons, and everyone on our team is trained, etc.
Yeah.
But if you are interested in learning, we have presentations. There's lots of things I'm happy to share with you.
Yeah.
Please let me know. And if I see that you're serious about it, I will help you in any way I can. And then they disappear. So they want it, and they think they're going to, be Zach Baggins in 2 minutes.
Sorry. No, you have a great point. And Chris, what about you?
So what I normally do is I'll figure out, like, if we're doing a public investigation, one of the first things I do is I ask the people in my group who has never done this before, and show of hands, and I'll get hands raised, and then I will let people know, listen, what you see on TV is not how it's going to be. It's like we are not running in there, we are not provoking, we aren't doing any of this stuff, and I've had people look at me like, okay, dance monkey, where's everything going? So I tend to tell people, look, paranormal investigation is a lot like fishing. You go to the river wanting to catch a fish, not expecting to catch a fish, but when you do catch a fish, then you're kind of hooked.
Yeah.
So that's what I always tell people. And I kind of go back to what I said before is I will listen to you. Like, if you're fresh, if you're new, I will listen to you. I won't shoot you down. I'm a very bubble popper person. Like, I will pop a bubble. But if you're new and I can tell that you're excited about it and you want to learn more, then I'll work with you. But like Philip said, like, if you start wanting to be, if you start wanting to be wearing Affliction t-shirts and Ed Hardy jeans and slick back hair, then I mean, I'm not bashing, but
you're fine, man. You're fine.
But there's a level of respect.
Right.
There's a level of respect between just people in general, and that's kind of what I base everything off of. Is if you have respect for the site, you have respect for your other human being. If you have respect for a spirit or entity or however you portray the paranormal, then I'll listen to you. I'll work with you. But if you disrespect one of those three things, then I'm sorry, but I'm not going to work with you.
Yeah.
One of the things I ask if someone approaches about wanting to learn about the paranormal, I ask, what is your goal? Do you want to be a ghost hunter or do you want to be a paranormal investigator? I said they're two very different things. And I explained to them, the difference. I said there's nothing wrong with either one of them if you approach it properly, like ghost hunting for the fun of it, but don't go in screaming, come out, demon, and that kind of thing. So, and then it gives them something to think about. Like they see what's on television and think that's ghost hunting. Well, that is ghost hunting. That's not investigating. That's not getting your baseline readings and doing family histories and researching all the things that go into it. Once you explain that to a lot of people, it's like, they hit the road.
They kind of go back.
One question I usually ask is, how many hours a week can you dedicate to this? I mean, I don't think you do 40 to 50 hours like I do, but you expect,
sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's another thing that I've also told people too is you get a 30-minute show. You get a 30-minute show, but they might have been on set for 5 days, for 2 weeks. Yeah. If you're lucky, sometimes you might get 2 days to be able to put something together.
Sure.
And if you're looking at it from that perspective of, oh my gosh, they got all this activity in one night. No, they didn't.
No.
They didn't.
Of course, we do. My team does, but not normally.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm on site, Chris, I always get stuff within 10 minutes, and then I'm done.
Yeah, I get full body apparitions. They come sit down, hang out, talk with me.
And there's another point too of which way do you want to investigate? Do you really want to go? Do you want to go the scientific route? Do you want to go depending on how you feel? Like if you feel like you're an empath, or you feel like you're a medium, and how are you actually coming to terms with those things? And because the things in this field, and what people don't understand, and what you were getting at, Chris, is things need hard data. You have to go in for 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after, of when you're kind of asking questions, and then 30 minutes after, and then you can get data of what's going on. And then you can just kind of go around and kind of see how you feel, or like that, and things like that. So there's many different roads of where you can go, and who you want to connect with. But the thing is I think of what everybody's kind of like on this round table is are you serious about it, and what are you willing to commit? Because it's a very big commitment of what you're doing.
And
And real quick, not to interrupt everybody, but let's welcome Chris to the show real quick.
Sure. What's going on, brother?
Sorry about that. I got caught up in traffic.
Okay.
I figured you got the time to run again.
You're fine.
I wanted to add something to what David said. You have to remind these people you're dealing with humans, people that once walked and lived and breathed and ate, have families.
Mm-hmm.
They're a ghost, but a ghost is a person.
Mm-hmm.
They're not circus animals. They're not in a zoo. And so many of these people forget about the spirituality of paranormal investigating. I mean, they're people. They're not something to be toyed with, so to speak.
Yes.
And they forget about that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to tack something on to what David said also about having the two different paths of scientific and metaphysical. Our team is based up both scientific and metaphysical. So we try to use scientific data to also back what they're saying. We try to be that nice blend between the both.
Yeah.
So that you don't lose sight. Someone in the metaphysics might look at the scientist and go, I'm not talking to you. Scientist is going to look at someone in the metaphysical and go, you're a crack job.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's since we have both of those on our team, we try to tend to use both of them to the best of our abilities.
Sure. Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Chris, what are you?
I have a question. Oops.
Go ahead.
I have just a quick question. What do you think about the prospect of projection, where individuals go and have the ability to project? Because in some cases, you have individuals that do see a spirit while others may not. And they may be subconsciously creating a projected element, for lack of a better word.
Does that depend on their attitude when they walk into the place, Chris?
It could. I mean, when you go in, now we don't try and give any of our teams pre-information about the site that they're investigating.
Yeah.
But a lot of teams do go in and say, for instance, the lady in white is supposed to appear at such and such a time.
Sure.
Now, if you've got a group focusing on that, could they be actually projecting a subconscious thought that could possibly materialize into that? We know, like with Slender Man and some of the others, they were just imaginary creatures, and then all of a sudden, everybody started thinking on it, and more sightings started to occur.
But
anybody, go ahead.
On the other side of that, you can have three people standing there, one see an apparition and the other's not, because they're not on the same frequency as that spirit. we may be communicating with them through telepathy into their mind and not the other two because they're not all on the same wavelength. So that's
Right.
hard to discern. Are they self-manifesting in their own head, or is that
Sure.
spirit only able to communicate with me? That's something
Mhm.
it's hard to prove.
Oh,
No.
I'm not saying that all cases are like that,
Yeah,
but
I
there
believe they
is a
can.
possibility. I feel that sometimes we get into that when there might be somebody who has the ability, just like with
Yeah.
poltergeist activity.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, it's one of those things where we teach our teams very, very deeply to really concentrate on the experience, the data that's coming in, and so forth, in order to collaborate what they're seeing.
Yeah.
Also, if they're seeing it, are they getting any information from what they're seeing? Are they just seeing it? If they're connecting with a real human spirit, that spirit should be giving them hopefully some information.
Right.
Are they
Right.
getting it? Do they feel like they're
Oh,
getting
yes.
told
Oh,
something?
absolutely.
Yeah. So
I mean,
that's
we utilize all the equipment and everything else, but that's one of the reasons why we don't tell the teams prior to what
Yeah.
they're getting into,
Sure.
so that can actually collaborate the experiences of the client versus again going in and assuming we're going to see Aunt Dorothy or Uncle Mike
yeah.
being there,
So
and it's just a control factor.
So Chris,
Absolutely.
when you go in, do you kind of just get the feeling of people that are going in? Because I know a lot of times when I go into investigations, and we don't tell anybody about anything like that. But if somebody is kind of like having a bad day or something like that, and they do an investigation, they
Mhm.
my little hypotheses, little experiment that I do, they tend to have sometimes a worse experience than somebody who is kind of going into an
Mhm.
investigation, going like, yeah. So it's going back to your manifestation of something of like, okay, if somebody knows the white lady is going to be here at 10 o'clock, people are really focusing on that. And if
Right.
somebody's having a bad day, do you think that can actually manifest like kind of a grumpy ghost?
It could. It it's very feasible.
Yeah.
Again, the only people when we start, we have usually two members of the lead team go in and do a pre-interview, of course, with the
Mhm.
client to get the basic information of what they've experienced, any background history, and so forth. We usually keep that, but there, you're absolutely right. I feel that energy transcends. It's just like in the living world, we either instantly like somebody based on their energy, or we
Mhm.
take a complete dislike to somebody
Yeah.
because of their energy. And I think that can really charge the atmosphere around the environment, so that the spirits that are there could be feeding off that energy and reflecting it back at us.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, like attracts like, and if that's the vibration they're on, they're going to be drawn to that.
What are
Right.
your thoughts? What are your thoughts about when you're training people? What are your thoughts about teaching them about protection and about grounding and different things? Because I think a lot of people that really get involved in investigating, and they go to cemeteries when they first start off, then they
Right.
start getting into buildings and things like that. And I think one of the biggest things that is really kind of passed over, and this is just my opinion, is they forget about protection, they
Right.
forget about grounding, they forget about just really protecting themselves, because
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that can go on here, of just like we were talking about. They see these shows, it's glorious, everything's fun and things like that. What are your thoughts on protection and where you should go and what you should learn about? Because everybody knows like about the white light of protection, things
Right.
like that. How deep do you think people should go? Because I have my own protection that I do and my own
Mhm.
grounding that I do. where do you think people should go when they begin and when they really start getting serious?
Well, our process is always we do gather and we talk about the surrounding ourselves with the white light of protection, but we also say to our team, pray upon whatever deity that serves you best for protection. Concentrate on that, and then go ahead and put that image on you, or wear some talisman, like a crucifix or something else that may reflect their belief system. And then upon completion, we do a real quick cleansing ceremony so that nothing potentially will follow us home. And it seems to work very well. But again, it's even like when we go in and we have a really negative encounter, be it the D word or just a very angry spirit. If it's above our pay grade, so to speak, we let the client, we ask the client basically what their faith is. And then we will contact a religious person based upon that faith element, because when you go in and you have somebody like that, they're able to do far more than, say, a group of maybe a Catholic household, and you call in a shaman. Their belief system is not going to reflect the same as that base religion. So you have to basically build an army of faith in order to take down whatever is in influencing that particular family.
And just to make sure, when you talk about faith, there can be different faiths of what people follow for their own protection. Yes, is that right, Chris? Or do you just work? Because I know I work with a lot of different people that have a lot of different disciplines and things like that. So I'm not judgmental, like if you're religious or this, or you follow the Nordic way or things like that, or vampirism or Wiccan and stuff like that. So that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. And those are the people I work with. And I think it really kind of accentuates, the investigations that I go on.
Exactly. And that's you've really got to tap into what is going on. Again, feeling the energies, knowing basically to document certain things, and that will help any religious element that's going to be involved. And we have done that on several cases. Now my crew is across the United States. We have chapters of Anubis Paranormal Research Organization throughout the country, as well as in Scotland and Japan. So each environment is different than the other. So our directors in those positions really have to know the clientele and what they believe. Now, Japan is one of the hardest groups to deal with because they're so rooted in tradition. And they have their own faith base again. So you've really got to literally understand the philosophies that you're getting into. And it seems to work. Plus, they feel more confident and comfortable with something they can relate to in order to remove this situation from their homes.
Chris, you're blowing my mind. I do local investigations and I interview people, but you're blowing my mind. So this is really good. So hopefully I'm making sense also. So
I'll get you to the contact because he's a great person to have on your show.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, would be more than happy to.
And real quick, not to change the subject, but we did have a question earlier that kind of got buried while I was going through it. Is Jerry Ann wanted to know, is it ethical to warn a historic location of bad behavior by another group?
Yes.
I feel like the proof is in the pudding. I don't think you should run to that historic location and be like, oh, so and so is a bad group. I feel like if you put in the work, they see the good and they'll see the bad. I don't feel like it is your place to tell somebody else you know, a trash that you've heard or the trash that you've seen?
My thinking on it is basically that you can always assist somebody with ideas, not confront them face on and say you're doing it all wrong, but say, have you ever thought of doing it this particular way? And it kind of plants the seed, because what we're dealing with right now, and I'm sure you're all aware of it, is this overload of hobbyists and YouTube people, no offense, but they're trying to make money off of this, and they're putting themselves in great danger, not only spiritually but physically. I mean, God, they're out in these buildings that are condemned. They could fall through floors. Psychologically, they could be harmed because they are not prepared to what they're dealing with. And so there's a lot more to what we do than this, like I said, hobbyist or this YouTuber who is really making a bad name. I mean, right now I'm seeing all sorts of controversy going on with some of the big names, if you know who I mean, and on some of the TV shows. And, it's gotten to that point where the dollar is more important than the actual investigation and the scientific gathering of data. Yeah. Exactly. Because we're never going to be able to prove scientifically if we've got a bunch of naysayers out there saying, no, I'm doing this because I want to write a book or I want my own TV show or this, that, and the other. And it really taints the true science of what we're doing. But if somebody is really, really, truly interested, and we do this with other groups, we give them advice. And we will say, well, maybe you should think about this or that or the other, and give them an option or two. We're also very easy to put out all of our materials that we have. I have a manual that's about the size of an old phone book, and it covers pretty much everything that I've encountered and experienced and researched over the last 40 years, literally. And so, I mean, those are the things that you can do to build a better relationship with individuals and other groups. But there's so many that are just so anti-working together. Paraunity, we try and try and try, but it's almost non-existent.
Yeah, it's tough.
And that's a shame.
It's tough to see who's in it for the likes and the views and the followers, and who's in it for the work. And they're definitely the ones that they're going for numbers. They're not going for quality. Yeah, it's all about how many followers do I have. And
I thought that's why we started Ghost Ed. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we got 4 followers tonight.
But I feel like it's categorizing the two different people, similar to what I said with scientific and metaphysical. You can be scientific or metaphysical and like having the likes and comments and views and the notoriety or publicity. So I don't want it to seem like it's being snowballed into when you either have this or you have to have this.
Right.
Because I personally,
you have both.
Yeah, personally, that's how I am.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest with you. I am a whore for likes. I love likes. I like comments. Love it. But at the same time, I also like collecting the scientific data and going to these locations and not posting lives or pictures or blasting all over social media.
So Chris, let me ask you this. So when you're doing a scientific thing and you go in and you do 30 minutes of before you go someplace, right? And then you do 30 minutes of when your investigation, and then your 30 minutes after. How many likes do you get on that compared to when you compress everything down to 3 minutes and put it on TikTok?
You get nothing. You don't get anything. But at the same time.
So then why don't you just post and ghost and go, this is what we did before, this is what we did during, and then this is what we did after, and then really kind of feel of like who your fans are.
I mean, you can, 100%, and like you said, you can see who your fans are, or who likes seeing the scientific stuff compared to the entertainment stuff. Us as humans, we're very simple creatures.
Sure.
We see a ball bouncing, we get excited.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to put a 3-minute video on TikTok of me producing, I'm going to say nothing, but as we all know, there was some production there, but it's not, Grandma Gertrude walking down the hallway wearing a moo. So I mean,
sure.
It's not going to get as many views or as many likes as
another. Do you get conflicted when you have to do that because of the investigations you do, of like, do you get conflicted because you have to do that, but you also have this scientific, like this activity, like scientifically wise and data wise and things like that, of just like because you have to put that out there for your team and stuff like that? And I'm not trying to disparage you in any way, because I know we all try to do it. I had to post something today. I have to post something every week because of my contract and stuff like that. But I hate doing it. I hate, and this is just my opinion of what I have to do. And I understand what you're trying to do, but man, I feel like it's just a drag. Like, if somebody doesn't like your stuff, how do you feel like when somebody doesn't like your stuff, even though you have like cool stuff on there?
Am I allowed to cuss on this show?
No, do you understand what I'm saying, man?
Yeah, no,
because I feel you, dude.
Yeah,
I feel
no, I mean,
I just post and ghost, man. Like,
no, like,
yeah.
So opinions are like assholes, right? We all know that. We all know that quote.
Yeah.
And it's like anything, everybody's going to have their own opinion on whatever you're doing. And for me personally, there's a time and a place for everything.
Sure.
If I'm doing scientific work for my own self or the team or a couple of different people, I might not put that on my own personal page or Campfire Chronicles page. Okay. But if I'm doing something that is more like, shiny bells and whistles, then I'll put that on there, because that, again, back to the whole bouncing ball thing, I can't show you anything that's happening on EDI Plus, but I can show you on a REM pod.
Yeah, for sure.
So I definitely feel that confliction sometimes, but at the same time too, I also like promoting things. So
it's getting people to your page and getting people to see what you're doing and things like that. So I understand the confliction. It's just I'm just old, so I don't know how to do it. So that's my complaint. So
no,
don't worry, I feel the same way.
Like I said, there's a time and a place for everything, and I have friends that are YouTubers, and I have friends that are scientists, I have friends that are Reiki masters, and it's I might not agree with one of them, but I'm not gonna sit there and
No.
But
no, I'm not saying that whatsoever.
Yeah, no. But I mean, like you said, I mean, there's, like I said, it's a time and a place, and you gotta kind of weigh your options. Sure. Do I want to go into a location and collect actual data, or do I want to go into a location that I've been to multiple times and get the fluff? Like we work with the Hanover Tavern a lot, and we're in there all the time, and we still collect data there, but at the same time, when we do public investigations and kind of want some of, I'm going to use the word fluff again, and I don't mean that in any kind of bad way. Okay. But when we do public investigation stuff like that, you want the bells and whistles. You want sure. things that beep and flash and go woo. So,
well, I think with any of the YouTubers, there are shows I enjoy. I enjoy watching, and there are some that really catch me off guard, and I commend them for it. But when they keep saying over and over and over again, join or hit that like button and so on. You know darn well what the route is for them. And I mean, there's a couple guys, again, I won't say names, that are out there that have gained a great large audience. And they go all over the world, and they're early teens. And I mean, I enjoy watching it, but there's so many times I catch them in error. But I don't have a problem with some of these groups that go out, film it, and as long as it's accurate information, or otherwise they put on their entertainment value or something to show that they do something. Now, we have a program in our group which is called the APRO Kids, and basically what it is a bunch of kids that get together and they start to review either equipment or videos on what they think is real or what is not real. And then we have ambassadors, which APRO Kids ambassadors, which do investigations in their hometowns and send in the reports. So it's just started, but it's gaining quite a bit of popularity. But there's nothing there that says, this is we don't send them into scary situations. Let's put it that way. We wouldn't do that. But it's fun for kids to learn about the paranormal. So by kids for kids. But there again, we try to do it from the heart instead of, we're not trying to make any money off of it. I mean, it would be nice. I agree with you, Chris, when you say it's good to see the likes and the comments because it helps you develop more and see kind of where you're going and how you can adjust it to make it more interesting. But overall, it's one of those balances. Again, you kind of have to really look for who's in it for the sincerity of it or who's in it for the bling bling.
Yeah. Do you guys really enjoy and I've seen people on YouTube who start one way, right? And then they'll kind of go a different way. And then they'll end up reading tarot cards or trying to do something like that of where they go. And then you understand where they were going at the first place of okay, well, I'm going to do investigations. I'm going to get my 1,000 followers or whatever. And then they try to do stuff and they go, oh, this is where it is. And they have these really kind of cool, YouTube-y kind of things. And then they go, okay, well, let's just do tarot readings and I'll do these now. And then you can, PM me for private readings. What are your thoughts on those people? Because I think we kind of covered it right there. But those are the things that I really kind of get angry at, going dude, really? All you wanted to do was tarot readings. You could have done that already. It's okay. You just have to get a book, and study under somebody or, study it. But I just get so disappointed in that of because sometimes they're really good, in their investigations, and then they just go right towards the money. So
go off into left field and you're not sure where they're going.
Yeah. And what are you doing?
Exactly.
It's okay.
Sometimes they don't know what they're doing. They're just evolving and this looks shiny and pretty. I'm going to chase it. So,
or
I mean, it's they're finding their way. Maybe they'll settle in on something of it.
It's like me when I was in New Orleans and I was quite intoxicated and I was somebody was doing a tarot card reading. They were $20, and I was like, absolutely, let's do this. And then I sat down and she's like, can I have a cigarette? I was like, what? You don't want a cigarette? And she's like, nope. And I was like, absolutely. This is going to be the greatest thing ever. So, at least I got my tarot read in New Orleans.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't accurate, but I don't think I remember too much about it, but it was still fun.
So real quick, another question that I had for you guys that I wanted to bring up. We had briefly talked about team conduct. What do you think is the most important element of not just team conduct, but a paranormal investigator's code of conduct?
Oh, wow.
I stumped you there. Woohoo!
No. Your reputation is what you have.
Yeah.
As soon as somebody uh, and this goes into PD too, and PD is paranormal drama. You know, you have to have a solid reputation of what you do, and that is your basis. That is your oak. That's your roots. Like if people doubt you in what you do, that's the death toll. You don't get asked to do
Yeah.
anything. You can still do things, and I'm not talking about anybody here, but this is my own belief of, if you look back on what I've said about myself and everything like that, you can see it's just consistency, because this is what has happened to myself. If you look at my partner, this is what has happened to Christy and her journey. And then we came together, and we're forming our own journey of what we do and things like that. But you got to be solid on what you do, because if not, people are this business is ruthless, man. It's just ruthless, and you'll just get ripped apart, whether you say one word wrong, or a whole investigation wrong. I don't know. Am I wrong, or no?
Oh no, absolutely right. I mean, we're seeing that now with
Yeah.
some of the TV shows,
Yeah.
and it's backfiring on that one particular individual
Sure.
who shall remain anonymous. But I
What are
know.
you talking about? This guy? Hold on.
Is that who?
Zach
I missed
Baggins. Sorry, I'm trying to trigger some people right now with his haunted museum T-shirt.
Well, I've known Zach. I knew Zach when he first started out.
I'm just joking.
No,
it's fun.
But to admit the truth, he has changed,
Sure.
and not for the best.
Yeah.
He's become ruthless. He's become more money oriented than actually investigative wise. And to be honest with you, I think collecting all of those haunted items may have affected him. But I mean, you look at another show.
The place is no joke, brother.
Destination Fear is a good show, and it has a large following, and they have been struggling since day one. And it's all of the paranormal TV shows are now on the chopping block on the Travel Channel.
Yeah, they're all gone.
Except for one.
Yeah.
And that's Ghost Adventures. So is there something there where jealousy or something else is involved? I don't know. But it sure seems suspicious. But it's just like blood in the water. The sharks come running, and they will tear you apart. And it's just like with us. We have one piece of information that cannot be collaborated as authentic, then doubt starts to run. And if doubt starts to run with one, it reflects on all. Mm-hmm. So the true researcher, the true person that is trying to find the absolute truth of what's going on, then suffers the wrath of all.
Yeah.
And it does affect us.
True.
So not speaking on behalf of Zach at all, but do you believe that maybe the change was just Hollywood in general, just getting that limelight and the ego building off of that?
Oh yes, absolutely. I mean, you even look at ghost hunters. When they first started out, they were in a little tiny trailer working out of a roto-rooter van. And nothing against Jason and his crew, but now they drive around in all matching black vans, elaborate equipment, and they bought lots of property. And money is a big influencer. And really,
I can tell you one thing of being at Paracons and seeing when ghost hunters and Destination Fear Ghost Adventures do not do Paracons. but
Mhm.
you can see what the flavor of the month is,
Yeah.
per se, in paranormal. And Destination Fear has people wrapped around the building.
Yes.
Ghost hunters do not.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of jealousy.
Yes.
There's a lot of things going on. Um, those people, that work on Destination Fear, they're very nice. They're very receptive to people.
Mhm.
Um, there are also some things with ghost hunters that I've experienced myself that have been not very nice. you know, um, and I won't say anything because I don't want to be, blacklisted or anything like that. But
Right.
I'll just say one group is a little bit nicer than the other.
Right.
So
And that happens even with teams that are local to you. We've got a couple here in Colorado that we have tried to work with, and the jealousy factor is humongous, not on our part, but on their part, because they've heard that we're a big, basically national and an international organization. And the only reason behind that was I was a park ranger for 45 years, and wherever I went, I opened up a chapter. But also
nice.
now our reputation has preceded us, and there's been a lot of international groups that want to start a chapter. But that's because we do hold our commitment high. We do hold our standards high. And again, we're not going to put anything out there that isn't real. And I'm not going to pad anything because it's basically my legacy. And I'm proud of what we've accomplished, just as I'm sure every one of you have. And it's to be an investigator in this field is not a job, it's a passion.
Yeah.
And if it's a true passion with all of us, then we want to see it to the end. We want to make a difference for the right reasons, whether it being helping a soul cross over that's lost, or investigating a UFO situation, cryptids, the whole 9 yards. There's a whole strange world out there that people just do not realize is there.
We accept all. So.
But getting back to reputation and how important it is, which is something that I've stressed to my team from the beginning, and without it, you have nothing. We have a hard enough time in the South, being in the Bible Belt, to get into a lot of historical locations because they don't want to talk about
ghosts.
Oh,
yeah.
But there's a nice historical location here south of Atlanta that began opening up to paranormal investigations. After the pandemic, all these places needed money.
Yeah.
So some of the people that never thought about it before thought, okay, this may be something we need to try. So anyway, we were one of the first teams in to investigate this property, and we are very professional. I mean, that's just the way I expect it to be. So then after we had gone in, they had several others go in and they saw the difference.
Yeah.
And they came to us when they wanted to have their fundraising event and said, you're the only ones we would want to work with because you're the most professional group that we have had come here. They came to us.
Yeah,
you're right.
We didn't go ask them.
It's the same thing Nelson News is doing up here with, in North Carolina, of just getting those historical places and really kind of documenting things for them. And people want to get in there, but they can't.
Yeah.
Because they know of just what you're saying, Philip, people really kind of ruin it sometimes, just like you were saying earlier of, beer cans or, little mini bottles of whatever. And if you're drinking on an investigation, no, but you and everybody knows.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it.
We love to have fun. We love to have fun. You have to have fun on an investigation also. You really do. To break the monotony and to just be like, okay, let's just shake this off. Something just really happened. Tell a joke, whatever. go outside, have a smoke, make a joke, laugh and dream, just like the Violent Femme song. But it's just, you can't do that. You can't leave your shit around. You can't do
We
this.
bring our own trash bags, our own paper towels.
Dude, seriously,
We brought
it's
our
not
own
that hard.
brooms and
It's
stick
not.
bags
It's
before and
not that
vacuumed
hard.
after we've
It's not
packed
that
up.
hard.
We've done,
Yeah.
we leave it
If I
clean.
remember, you've left equipment behind. No.
That was
We all have. We all have.
5 a.m. I was exhausted. That was a private home though, so.
But it's one of the cases that has happened here in North Carolina of where you can't get into these places because they can be great, but teams have ruined it,
Yeah.
and just like that. And when I go to investigate the battleship, and they're just super strict of like, if you leave anything behind, you're done, and things like that. And they still do it. They still have you there, because they need the money for everything like that. And even though if you and this is just on my personal opinion, if you're booking it for the amount of money it is, give them the same amount of money as a donation. Just don't book it for the bottom fee. Try to raise some money for them also, but clean your stuff up, dude. Just be respectful. It's not that hard. And this is coming from a guy who likes to be in the woods. What you bring in, take out.
Take it out.
I was just going to say that as a park ranger, that's the motto.
Yeah.
Pack it in, pack it out.
Boy Scout motto: leave no
Exactly.
trace.
Yeah, leave no trace.
Exactly.
Man.
And talking about sites, one thing that you guys, maybe it wasn't even on my list, but you guys talking about everything made me think of it, is when I lived out in Vegas, we had one or two teams out there that was very possessive of locations. And they would actually tell locations, don't let anyone else in. And we would call and we're like, nope, if you want to come in, you got to go through this team. And it's what are your guys' thoughts on, I guess you would call it hoarding haunted locations?
No, it's common here. I mean, it's who you know and how you can get in, or if you can undercut them, I guess, or if you're more professional, or who it's there's no jealousy with me of what like Nelson is doing here in North Carolina. He's doing fine. He's doing everything like there. But what we're doing, of Christy and myself, is okay. So we're gonna go some other routes like this, and I'm still talking to Nelson to see if we can kind of investigate with him as a partnership, Paraunity, right? To see, but he still has his trials and tribulations about what we have done. You know what I'm saying? So he needs to trust what we do. And if somebody's hoarding something, I don't know. I don't have a problem with that if they're getting data or things like that. Like what are they doing in the place? Are they just hoarding it to like go there every weekend and go live, to say that they're at a haunted location and stuff like that? Or are they hoarding it and inviting some other people to kind of go with it? Like kind of what are they doing? Because I know some teams have like a home base, like we can always go to this place to investigate. But is it just with them, or are they like kind of, do you guys kind of understand what I'm saying? I think I'm kind of rambling.
Sure. No, I agree wholeheartedly with you. The situation again is I look at it from the point of, this is our baby. We've got all of this information and we're not going to share it because we don't want anybody to take what's ours. Now, for us, we have a big investigation coming up this fall down in the what we call the East Colorado Division, which is everything from the Rocky Mountains east, and then we're the west, and then I kind of coordinate all of the groups. But we have an investigation for the city of Thornton Now they approached us and want us to do a whole investigation on this site that's called Riverdale Road, and it's rather famous for some of the ghostly activity and some of the hauntings. So we have invited other teams to join us in order to help assist us with the investigation, and of course equal billing, but it's basically our baby, but we're not so tied up that we can't share the cake. And I think that is the thing that really needs to happen more often in order to really truly promote para-unity and working together and sharing information and data and so on to collaborate. We've got a lot of groups that contact us that say, can you take a second look at this and tell us what you think? And we are more than happy to do so. And we'll do it with other groups as well. If we've got something that go, I think I need a second look at this. But again, it's the ego factor. And, those individuals, like I said, that think that that's their baby and how dare you infringe upon our territory. And that's not right. It should be open to everybody.
Yeah,
and you may get,
sorry.
Oh, well, I'm just saying it could be that one investigation that changes everything.
Yeah.
And it may not be from you. It may be from somebody else.
Yeah.
So
I also understand how you can become protective of a place that you have grown fond of. It's not your place, but you have a special attachment to it because it's like the Lotes house in Tennessee. We love it. It's like we feel at home there. And you worry about someone going in and doing something disrespectful. Those are the kinds of things.
Right.
We wouldn't trash anybody for going in, but there's certain places that you just have a place in your heart for.
Sure.
You hate to see someone go in and do something that they shouldn't. And investigating with another team, I would love to work with other people here in Georgia, but before I could do that, I need to see what they're doing first and how they're doing it. Because if our reputation gets put on the line because of something stupid they're doing that I'm not aware of, I mean, that gets kind of sticky. It's like, I'd love to work with other people, but okay, that's dust. That's not an orb, right? I mean, I need to know these things about the other team.
Sure.
And sometimes you don't know unless you've gone out with them. Right. So it's
Yeah, and do you think people hoard their locations because they don't want the public to know it's not haunted?
Yes
and no. Team went in and disproved everything they've claimed.
That's a good question. I lived out in California for a while, and my prime project was the Queen Mary. I had more activity aboard that ship than I can keep in a 12-volume book, but there were other groups that came in, and there were the skeptical groups that tried to discount what was going on the ship. And it really... it didn't annoy me as much as saying, well, you don't know what the heck you're doing type of feeling. And you go in there with all the best intentions. But the Queen Mary is always, well, in the beginning, they weren't too happy about being labeled a haunted ship. And then all of a sudden it became very, very successful. And in fact, it's a big, big money maker now. And the whole idea. But I can attest firsthand from my own personal experiences, that ship is hugely haunted.
They just opened back up. Also, they were closed for a bit, but the ship is actually sinking. So if you do have an opportunity to get there, just like I said, if you can get there, make sure to pay what it is and then donate on top of that. To really help them out. So,
but everyone, when you go into a location, you bring your own energy, which can change the entire environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
You go into a location behind you, and all hell break loose. Just depending on our intentions when we go in. and you may have not gotten anything. So for someone to say, oh, this place isn't haunted, well, may not be haunted for you because you didn't have the right intention, the right energy. It just wasn't meshing, vibing. We went in with our own intentions and our own way of doing things, and we got activity. So it's
it's interesting that you should say that, because I'm sure you all have heard of Peter James, the renowned psychic. He's passed away quite a few years ago, but he was a mentor of mine. Funny story, but that'll be for a different time of how I met him. But the thing was, I started having experiences, and one thing that he did say to me that made a lot of sense was, I said, basically, why do you think I'm experiencing all of those things? And he says, it's because the Queen Mary chose you. And that's always lived with me. A place chooses you. The entities choose you.
It's so funny you say that, because I always ask people the question on our show about certain places of did this choose you or did you choose it? And they always really kind of say this place chose me. Like I wasn't experiencing things before that, and then when they get to a place of when they're really kind of experiencing stuff, it's that one place that really comes out. So that's a really really great point. Thank you.
Have you noticed some teams, it's always the same ones that are getting scratched all the time, no matter where they go? I mean, they could go to church and they're going to get scratched.
Exactly.
It just blows me away. I mean, like the house that we're going to do this event at, this fundraiser, this team went in, they're posting all these pictures and they're all scratched. I'm like, oh, Jesus. None of that happened to us,
Well,
when you go into a haunted location and a spirit is there, if you're going to piss off the spirit, what's the spirit going to do? Get pissed back. And it's all about respect.
Yeah.
I just feel like here's Joe.
Hey guys, I'm sorry, I just got off a 2-hour call.
That's okay, Joe. How are you?
This is my third one tonight. So I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I'm doing well, thank you, Joe.
We actually do have some questions that we need to answer real quick before they get lost in the feed here.
Okay.
The first one is, what do you all think of doing solo investigations? I did my first one before Christmas, and
Nope.
it was interesting.
Nope.
Nope.
Buddy system always.
Yeah. Nope.
Safety.
I think we're all in agreement with that. No.
Yeah, because if you go down and you get hurt and there's nobody there.
Exactly.
And not just physically. There can be something spiritually and emotionally happening to you that you're not even aware of until it's too late.
Yeah. Or the place you're in, or the place you're in, like you don't know.
We did wellness checks throughout the night on different, teammates, because they may not even be aware of something that's happening to them.
Yeah.
Sure. That actually brings up a funny story. We were investigating a location, and I think we had 12 people in my group, because what we did is we went to a location and we were training the employees to show them not to be afraid to work where they were working.
Okay.
And so the one girl said, well, let's make sure we check on each other. And we all were given a number. So, and every hour we would count off 1, 2, 3, 4. And when we were doing it, we had a spirit box going. And the last person said 12. And then in the spirit box, we got 13.
That'd be great. Yeah, we've had them count down with us, because I always end the session counting back from 5 to 1. And when we get to 1, this door's closed. You must, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they'll count with us sometimes. It is so funny.
Yeah.
And then paranormal tech, Nam tech. Oh my goodness, I should really need to put my glasses on. How is all of this data shared? And this one was towards David when you were talking about sharing data earlier.
Well, that's one of the big things of where Paraunity has to come in. There's a lot of data being collected, and there's a lot of people that I work with of like Lourdes Gonzalez and Rania Geravetti, of their ITC work that they're doing up in like northern Jersey and stuff like that, of creating their own white noise and things like that, and the data they're collecting or the data that I'm collecting. I don't think anybody's really sharing data of what they have, and I think I think that's where Paraunity has to come in. And Philip, you're raising your hand. Go ahead.
The very first team I was on here in Georgia, someone created a data sharing website just for investigators to go in, put the location, address. You could put your baseline readings, anything you wanted to about the location, but nobody did it. No one wanted to take the time to go in and go, well, the moon was, 3/4 full, the barometric pressure. Nobody wanted to do that because it's not fun. But we tried, and it was for everyone to use, for everyone to go in and share that data. But that's the boring stuff. Nobody wants to do the boring stuff.
Exactly. And that's the point I'm getting to, of everybody just wants to put things on camera, kind of put it on YouTube, get their likes, and this is kind of full circle of where I said I kind of go toward the scientific part. A lot of other people go towards that. So I would love to share the data. I mean, I have a theory. Well, actually, it's called the Barger theory of when people have their batteries drained, right? Of when they have equipment. Okay. So the theory that Jeff Barger came up with, he goes, well, so if those batteries can be drained, then why don't you take in a car battery and see if that can be drained, right? So the bad thing about that is a car battery is very heavy. You don't want to be lugging around all the time. But you can hook something up and get the data before that of seeing how full the car battery is, and get those baseline readings. Then you can do your investigation there and get the readings of that, and then you can actually look at what it is afterwards, and you can kind of share those things. And I know it's really outrageous and things like that, but I think it's actually kind of a good theory of, well, if they can drain that battery, why can't they manifest off of the car battery? So,
which it's 100%, it's 100% possible to get those readings beforehand. Coming from being a mechanic, I mean, you can take a voltmeter and get just the voltage, or if you really want to get more technical, you can put a load tester on it. And now you're actually collecting the cold cranking amps. Let's say you have a 600 cold cranking amp battery, and you go in and it's 598, and nothing's changed. Temperature hasn't changed. Everything has been the same, and you pull it out, and your cold cranking amps are now at 400. Now you know that something has happened when that is actually a known good battery.
Sure.
Now, if you go in there with a known bad battery, then obviously all your readings are going to be off.
Yeah, for sure. So. Yeah, it's just something that we kind of do, and since I'm big and husky, I have to carry that thing around. So.
And the idea of sharing evidence is why I really wanted to have Larry on here. So I'm bummed that he couldn't be here, but I get it, because Larry 3 years ago started what he called the International Bureau of Paranormal Investigative Research, and it was $25 to join, lifetime. And that was so you could get your login, and everybody had their own database where they could upload files, and then you can click, and then it merged all the files, and you could see everybody's files. And they had a set protocol on how to submit, how to conduct investigations, how to back up your evidence. And his goal was to have that ultimate database, but only 2 teams joined. And it was $25 for the entire team to join. It wasn't per person.
Yeah.
So, nobody wanted to do it, so he completely put that on hold. But
nobody wants to pay money in the paranormal. They don't want to do it. They just want their own things. And I'm not trying to be a curmudgeon on that or anything like that, but it just they just want to keep their information for themselves and go from there. And
there's also a time element to it. Time is precious to us. We all work. When you come back from investigation, you've got all this stuff to review, and then the last thing you want to do is like sit down and type all this boring stuff into a computer for everybody. It's like, I wouldn't want to do it.
That's kind of exactly where I was going to go with it. Is who is willing to write up the thesis, and then who is willing to read that thesis.
And
then advance with that information. So like Philip said, it's all about time, and I think you would see. I don't want to say serious investigators, but I'm going to use that term. You'd see like if someone had the time to write that thesis and somebody was able to read the thesis and then start advancing onto that, that is your serious investigator. Again, I'm just using that term. I'm not saying it as in like a derogatory way of any type. But yeah, I think it comes down to time and, like I said, who's willing to write that thesis. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I do not have the time to do that.
Thank God for Stephanie on our team for doing our reports. Oh my God! I mean, well, Joe, no, I mean they're works of art. I mean, I couldn't do it. I can barely open a Word document. So. But also collecting data for your own team's sake is fine. Like we had like the one location, the train went by every 30 minutes, and we got EVPs every time the train went by. So now we're going, is there a train? Is there a train? Do we hear a train? So doing it for your own team's sake to experiment with, that's fine too.
Yeah.
You don't have to share
Also,
that.
it could be a good training tool too. But if you're opening it up to the public, let's face it, guys. There's a lot of crackpots out there.
Really?
I mean, if you open up something to the public, well, I paid my $25, I could throw my stuff up there, and like, well, you got a point, but
he does a good job vetting his people. Trust me.
Yeah.
No. I'm talking about other groups and these thrill seekers that just want to go into an abandoned building and get some evidence.
Yeah.
They don't want to put in 37 years, like I did, studying and learning how to help people. I don't do a lot of public stuff anymore unless they're for Ray or something.
Sure.
What I'm involved with the foundation is when we have a case somewhere that needs my assistance, I go. So, for example, we have a case that came in upstate New York recently where there was a double homicide. And it's a sad story. A guy killed his wife and his 5-year-old son, stabbed them to death. And also attacked the 2-year-old. The 2-year-old survived. Well, the gentleman called the police himself, says, I think I just killed my family, but doesn't remember any of it. So his 2 brothers and his sister or sister-in-law, they're all from Colombia, so they don't speak English very well. So Father Ken is involved to translate. And now they're thinking that something in the house or something possessed their brother to do this. And, and I said, look, if it's going to bring you some peace, I'll go to the home and stay there for a few days and see what kind of information or data we can get. I said, but you need to understand that I'm going to give you my personal and professional opinion, and if it's not the answers you're looking for, they're like, well, Joe, can you go to the jail and talk to my brother? I'm like,
No.
I'm not getting involved in a homicide investigation. Nope. It hasn't even gone to trial yet.
Yeah. But, you got to look into his background. Was he having money problems? Was he having an affair? Was his wife having an affair? They go ahead and they want to blame behavior on the paranormal. And that's where we as investigators have to use our critical thinking and look past that. What else could it have been?
I mean, there's more to it. There are some paranormal aspects.
Yeah.
There was stuff going on in the house. The brothers told me this. Yeah. So that his brother had admitted he'd been hearing voices telling him to do this. So, I'm in Connecticut. This is in upstate New York. It's about 2.5 hours away. I said, well, I'm willing to go up there. I haven't decided whether I'm going to or not, but I said the devil made me do it is not a defense. We all learned that from the Brookfield case. If you guys are familiar with that, the basis of the case. The Amityville case. I mean, I have secondhand knowledge of all those cases because I worked with the Warrens for 33 years before Lorraine passed away. But it's something similar to, or could be similar to Amityville if there is something to it. But the cases that I work on, obviously, we couldn't share a lot of that information. You don't want to give locations or names or anything like that.
We're talking historical or public location.
Yeah, and then
private.
As a disclaimer, I would say make sure you have proper permission to be on.
Absolutely.
As you guys all know,
Yeah.
Because now you're putting stuff up there and say, yeah, we went to Mansfield State Prison that's been abandoned for 30 years, and we captured this, this, and this. Then you got law enforcement breathing down your neck because you got your own evidence that you were there and you weren't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know how I feel about that. I think that if done properly, it could be a good training tool, because there's a lot of investigators that want to learn. I was fortunate enough that I was trained by Ed and Lorraine Warren, but they're gone. There are other people out there that can train people how to do things the proper way, and with dignity and respect. But I don't watch any of these shows anymore. I can't take. They're all pretty much the same. What was that? I'm like, yeah, I can do that too. But something just brushed by my face. I'm like, yeah, okay. Even these things I watch on TV, Slapped Ham, I guess these YouTube channels that put some of this evidence is pretty interesting, but then it cuts off, and they're like, I need more information. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to monopolize the conversation.
No, you're doing fine.
I did miss out on the first hour or so.
You did bring up something I have a question with is when you try to offer, people come to you saying, hey, I want training, I want X, Y, and Z, can you help me out? But then the minute you offer them the training, if it's not what they thought the training should have been, then they get upset, and the ego that they shouldn't have because they're new gets in the way of them learning.
Yeah, egos, as you know, Heather, is one of my biggest pet peeves. I always tell every member, and we have members that have egos. I know we do. But I didn't let them in. I told Chris, I said, if I was vetting these people, half of them wouldn't be in the foundation. And we found out the hard way, because if someone says or does something that they don't like, we've had people, they just take the nuclear option and they quit.
Wow.
And, I'm like, well, what happened? That's kind of stupid. You just quit over that. And then, they regret it later. And I said, I want serious investigators in this foundation, because my number one job, aside from helping people, is protecting the Warrens' name. I've put down a lot of people that have talked bad about them, especially now that they're both passed.
Right.
But, we mock what we don't understand. I just ask them one question. Have you ever met them? Most people are like, no, I never met them. I said, well, if you don't know them, I know them as people.
Right.
I said, I understand you're entitled to disagree with their methods, their thesis, their diagnosis, and I said, you're free to do that. I said, but don't talk about them. And one guy called him a pedophile, I think. Some guy in Australia said that Ed Warren was a pedophile. He wasn't in the United States, or I probably would have paid him a visit. Heather, but about that, I've been asked many times in town here. I'm very well known in town, and people have asked me, and the adult education has asked me to do classes, and I've thought about it. But I haven't done it yet. Just like I haven't written my book yet.
You haven't written my forward either, so.
I just got it. Cut me some slack. But Chris wanted to do classes for the foundation, and I think it's great, because if you're an up and coming paranormal investigator and you're serious about it, how do you get that experience?
Yeah.
I tell people, try to find a reputable team that's been doing it for a while. See if you can, join. They'll take you under their wing and teach you the right way. Those teams, there are teams out there that can do it. But,
we do it. We have what we call the APRO Academy, and we have it in 3 segments based upon the different genres: hauntings, UFOs, and cryptids. And they will go through those aspects based upon what they want. Now, they're also able to take the full course, but one of the things too is included in the course. They get their own starter kits that we supply them, and then they go out with us. So they get the classroom element, which is usually about a week and a half, based upon the different category. And then once they graduate, we offer them a position with us, or we're more than happy to see them go out and start their own. But we want to make sure that people are doing what's right out there. And not to say that my group or I have all the answers. None of us do. But we can at least put them on the right path.
Yeah.
And
That's an excellent point.
Send them to Ghost Ed. We have over 50 videos starting from when I get people that email me and I say, we're not accepting new members, but if you're really serious, go to Ghost Ed, start with Paranormal 101.
Yeah.
Then go to different we have types of hauntings. We have paranormal investigating procedures and protocols. We have paranormal paperwork, paranormal ethics and investigating.
Sure.
That's great.
Here.
That's great. That's the way it should be done. I mean, the way I started out wasn't anything like that, but it was kind of, the Warrens used to have classes, and the way I started my training was Ed and Lorraine would come in to the classroom, and it was every Monday night for about 2 hours, and Ed would bring in his notes and the tapes, video and audio evidence from Amityville, from the Enfield poltergeist in England, all these, the Rhode Island house, all those big name, those Conjuring movie cases. So we listened to these tapes, and he taught me about religious provocation and possession, obsession, oppression, all that kind of stuff. And then he took us out to a cemetery during the day, and we took photographs. He taught us, spirit photography. We'd take him at night. We'd take him during the day. And I remember my first time, I bought a new camera for the event, and I'm out there clicking away. He's like, "Yeah, Joe, take a picture of that headstone. That looks interesting." About 20 minutes later, he's like, "Joe, you got to take the lens cap off your camera." I didn't know. I was 18, 19 years old. I didn't know what I was doing.
You never left it on again, did you?
Well, that's how you begin. I mean, even myself, I was, I don't think you were on yet, but one of my mentors was, now wouldn't you know, my brain just fried, Peter James. Peter James.
Did he pass away?
Yeah, he passed away several years ago, but he became a really good friend of mine under
Peter
really.
James. I
I was
who he is. Never got to meet him.
Exactly. Very nice man. I was about 17 years old, and I was crawling around in the bottom areas of the Queen Mary, and I came around a corner, and I was covered in dust. And I stopped dead in my tracks because I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. And he looked at me, and he says, "Who are you?" And I said, Who are you?
I'm a ghost.
I said,
Boo.
He says, "I asked you first." And I said, "I'm Chris." And he says, "Well, what are you doing down here?" And I sheepishly said, "Oh, I'm ghost hunting." And he got the biggest grin on his face, you know that white hair and that black mustache. And he said, "So am I." And he took me under his arm. But when I got out and went to college, I went to UCLA. And back in the early 80s, they had a paranormal department. And I was under the tutorage.
Was that run by
Barry Taft?
No,
Yeah.
It was run by Dr. Peter Venkman.
Dr.
Oh.
There was Dr. Thelma Moss.
Come on, it's funny. Sorry.
Well, this is interesting. So it was Barry though? Barry Taft?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Barry Taft, yeah.
Yeah.
And also Carrie Gaynor. And the thing was, when I took that class, I mean, the place was filled, but paranormal was not what it is today. And he literally said, by the end of this course, there's only going to be a small handful of you left. And he was absolutely right, because we just didn't study the paranormal. I mean, that was far into the future.
Yeah.
We studied everything from biomechanics to weather patterns to architecture to thermographics, photography, everything you could think of that would be involved to disprove before you could prove.
Mm-hmm.
And he was absolutely right. There was 14 of us left. But we were also called the spooky kids, the nutty group, things like that. Now, and they disbanded the program because the powers that be at UCLA thought it brought a bad name having a paranormal department in the school.
Is that where they did the experience for was it Carla Moran? That's not a real name. That was for the movie.
The entity case.
Yeah. Was that where they did
absolutely.
the experiment at UCLA?
Yeah, that's exactly where they did it.
I mean, I saw the movie. I think it was very well done, but I know it was based on their case. And also, how about the San Pedro haunting?
Yes.
Jackie Hernandez.
Mm-hmm.
And on that one too. That was 1989, I believe.
Yeah.
So, matter of fact, the house. I'm sorry. I wanted to. The house in Southington, Connecticut. That I think the next Conjuring movie is going to be based on that case. That's about 15 minutes from me. It's right down the road. I pass it at least once a week. That was a house that used to be a funeral home. And, Carmen and Al Snedeker and their children. It's a true story. I mean, Chris spent 6 weeks in there with John Zaffis. You've probably heard John's name, right? John's another good friend. He was Ed's nephew. He lives about a half hour from me. But they spent 6 weeks in that house, and they witnessed the stuff. So, but the movie that was Hollywood with Virginia Madsen,
the
haunting in Connecticut. You know, with the bodies in the walls and the removing of the eyelids. That was all Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, I say, if you just told the real story, it would be far more interesting than what Hollywood dreams up. You know, tell the real story, because they get people to believe that this is what really happened and that there was necrophilia going on there, and that there's just no evidence to support that. The neighbors, I've talked to some of the neighbors years later that have been there, and they're like, I don't know, I think those people are crazy. I've lived here for 40 years and I never had any experiences, and you know, but it's a very interesting case. I was not personally involved in that because I wasn't ready. I had just started in 1986. I think this happened in 87, 88. And I remember Ed Warren saying, he was like, no, Joe, this is a bad case. You're not ready for this. And he's probably right. Probably wasn't. But,
well, and that's the important thing. We all got our start somewhere. We had somebody that literally helped us into what we are today. And those are the things that, as true parapsychologists, we want to see the next generations do. And it's difficult when you get these headstrong attitudes.
Well, that's just it. The people today want to go out and buy a computer, a camera, go to ghosthunting.com, buy all this equipment. They have no training. Their only training is what they see on television.
Right.
And I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying, but there's a large chunk of them that they have egos, they have attitudes. If they're lucky enough to get their 15 minutes of fame on a television show, I don't really do television shows anymore. I mean, if the foundation did a show and it was done right, that's a different story. But you know, the people that aren't willing to put in the work, like you did, like I did, like we all did, and study under people that knew more than we did. I mean, that's how you learn. You ask a lot of questions. Those are the people that drive me crazy. You know, because then they consider themselves equals with you. Oh yeah, well, I've been doing this 30 years. I'm like, well, all right, what have you done for 30 years? Oh, I went here, went to the cemetery, went to this haunted house, and I'm like, well, have you ever helped somebody? You know, you have a family that's terrified, and they bring you in their home looking for answers, and you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Exactly.
And then something happens, and how many times have you guys experienced this? Something happens that scares the bejesus out of them, and they leave, and they never contact the client again.
Absolutely.
It drives me nuts. Sorry, Heather. I get on my soapbox, and this stuff grinds my gears.
Okay.
Well, I
Well,
wanted
it's
to
You
because we're
invited me.
enthusiastic about it.
I
I can
wanted to
remove
give
you.
Steve Dills a big shout out because you talk about Paraunity. He, we're getting ready to do this event this summer, and he and Chris, you do the Hanover Tavern ghost hunts, and they met with us for 2 hours on Zoom with my members of my team, laying out exactly how to do everything.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 hours of his time generously, and your time, Chris, given to us to help us with this event. I mean, that's Paraunity to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome.
And then emailed me all the documents. So basically, it's like we fill in the blanks with our own our own people. I mean, it's like amazing.
Steve's incredible.
Yeah.
And Chris, you're incredible too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Going to like mentors and stuff. Honestly, Steve is my mentor.
Yeah.
Because I go to him for basically everything when it comes to questions, or if it's 2 a.m. and I got some weird contraption happening in my head, I go to him, and 9 times out of 10 we end up going down the multi-universe rabbit hole. But like what Philip said with Paraunity, we just had an event with Scotchtown and Hanover Tavern, and unfortunately Steve got sick, and he wasn't able to attend it and lead it. And how we do public investigations, anybody is able to lead it. Just all you gotta do is just read off of the instructions, and I had to be the one to help lead it, and with the help of Tiffany and Rhonda and the rest of the team, it went off without hitch. So you don't need to have the idea of having one person be the person that has to do it. Nah. If everybody can do it, then you don't run into any kind of complications.
That's the marks of a great leader, Chris. Of everybody actually knowing what to do and knowing what to do in a situation. If the leader goes down, and we can go back through history of when great leaders have been have fallen and things like that, and people have stepped up. So that's a great mark to Steve to actually train you and your team to be able to do that, even though he's not there. So Steve, I know you're blushing, but once again, good job. Good job to train your people well, man. I mean, that's the big thing. That's the big thing of when you come in touch with people and they ask for things or things like that. Some people can be very abrasive and not teach them, and some people can kind of embrace them and set them on the right path. So that's the biggest thing of Paraunity, of just getting people on the right path, no matter what path they want to travel down, whether it be the metaphysical, whether it be Wiccan or vampirism or anything like that. Just kind of go, okay, you can go over here. It's okay. There's people who will accept you.
You gotta have wanting and willingness.
Yeah, we're all here for you.
Dedication.
We're all here for you. Just be real, and I really don't know
what else to make mistakes. It's okay as long as you're.
It's how you learn.
About it and
trial and error.
Yeah. How you learn. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
My favorite are the mentors that are supposed to be mentoring you that tell you to go buy their book. I've been told that.
Oh, by the way, everybody on the panel, if you can, I do have a book of Paranormal 101. So if you can go buy my book, just really quick. I'm being sarcastic. Sorry, it's a joke.
Well, that one individual that we always were talking about a few minutes ago, he's got one out, Paranormal 101 or something like that.
I can tell you a really bad joke. Do you guys want to hear a really bad joke?
Who's that, Chris? I missed that one. Sorry, David.
No, it's fine. Okay, hold on.
Who's in
Vegas? Yeah, no. Here you go. Here you go. Are you guys ready? Okay, here's a really bad joke. Yeah. So, what do you call the security guards at the Samsung store.
God, it's been a long day. I don't know.
The Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Be here all week, folks. Yeah.
Ba-da-dum-bum.
Speaking of Paranormal 101, my
Yeah.
team is doing a library presentation Saturday, Woodstock, Georgia, 3:30. If anybody is in the area, come join us.
Okay.
Well, probably
Sorry
like a
about that joke. That just
16-hour drive for me.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Sorry.
I'm up in no. Heather, I don't want to know what the temperature was today.
It was actually 70. It was cold today.
We just had a snowstorm. Well, it's not that bad, but
We're going to be back in the 80s tomorrow, so I'll let you know tomorrow.
yeah, like I couldn't get any more depressed.
David, where in North Carolina are you?
I'm out of Raleigh, and Christy is out of Charlotte. So we tend to do stuff locally around here and stuff like that. But our big thing is the radio show, and just really kind of collaborating with people, and going to different places, and just really kind of promoting the Paraunity and stuff like that. So,
well, I was born and raised in Statesville, so
okay, yeah. I mean, this weekend we'll actually be in was it Gainesville? We're doing a Paracon down there, the Haunting of the Hill Paracon. We're going to be down there, doing some live broadcasts and stuff like that, and then investigations later on.
Gainesville, Florida.
No, North Carolina, right outside of Gainesville. Gosh, where is it? Hold on one second. Gosh, now I'm on the hook for this. 1 second. I know, huh?
Do we need music while you look?
So
do.
when you said Gainesville, it's like,
no, and of course
Gainesville, Florida.
They don't have anything. It's just everything.
Where are your other Chris? Where are you guys located? Which state?
Well, I'm now in Colorado, Grand Junction, the West Range.
Mm-hmm.
But I was all over the United States as a ranger.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm out of Richmond, Virginia.
Okay. Yeah. I'm in Connecticut. Heather, we know where you are.
Yeah.
And Philip, you're in.
That means anything.
What's that?
I was born in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Oh, it's in.
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean
it's
anything.
in Pickens, South At the Mill Paracon, Pickens, South Carolina. So we'll be there. Sam Belichus is going to be there, and Mary Jo Chudley, and Jeremy Leonard, and we'll be doing some live broadcasts and interviewing people, and then investigating at night. So it's going to be really kind of a cool thing. We have 50 acres to investigate for 3 nights.
Jeez.
So we'll not only have the mill and the quarters and stuff like that. We actually kind of have the whole forest to actually investigate. So it's going to be really cool, and we'll teach people of how you should have thermal when you go outside instead of audio, because audio is useless when you're outside sometimes.
Unless you like crickets, yeah.
Tag.
Although I did get an EVP at a Civil War battlefield area at night.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, no, yeah.
But,
Philip, you're exactly right. I've had some things of I've been to the Goldfield battlefield here, and also Bentonville. And Goldfield, I got a really, really good one that I thought the soul. I thought something was yelling at me, saying, "Get him," But it was actually on the berm of where the 17th Mass came over and were fighting the 51st North Carolina. And so I don't know if it was the 51st or the 17th yelling, "Get him," but it was just very interesting at that berm. But when I heard that, I'm known as a runner, and I heard that and I started running. So was very scary. So, but
Dude, run. Dude,
Yeah.
run.
yeah, I was just like,
Famous quote.
I heard get
Don't get
him.
me
I heard
started.
something else. And the person I was investigating with was on the other side of the battlefield, and I was like, well, thankfully, I'm still have some cardio. So,
I will tell you a cool place, not anything haunted related, but down in North Carolina. I go down to like Greensboro all the time,
okay,
and like Kernersville. You're probably familiar with Kerner's Folly,
yeah,
that house,
yeah,
dude. If anybody gets a chance, just in just a historical building, that place is so cool. And I'm 6'1", and there's spots where like I'm like
yeah, yeah.
tight.
I'm 6'7", so it's very very hard for me to get in those places. But yeah, there's so many great places in North Carolina that people just kind of brush off of like Lydia's Bridge. Um, Lydia's Bridge is actually not where Lydia actually died. It's actually by the power plant. The road there, that's the actual road of where she passed and the other people's passed. So you can actually get more activity up there than going through the public bridge that's down there. You know, uh, there's so many other things, and I'm kind of like drawing a blank right here. But different places you can go to. But if you go to those places, make sure that you get permission, because if you go to Devil's Tramping Ground and you see the no trespassing, and the owner comes out and points a shotgun at you, he has a right to do that to you. So please call
Very
him.
true.
You might need
Or
that
call
sooner than you
the
expected.
yeah, because they're especially now, since there's going to be a movie coming out about the Devil's Tramping Ground. Every state has one, but it's just going to be, and especially since it's kind of like in the middle of nowhere in North Carolina, it's just going to be like overrun. So
Yeah, it was Allison's Woods in Statesville.
yeah. Well, it's a Jersey Devil in
You get chased
Jersey.
out by the
Yeah.
Phantom pickup truck, but they were just trying to keep out of their pot fields. I mean, that's
Yeah, we have the
not gonna run
gravity
you out.
road. We have the gravity road here, which is actually kind of really cool. It's kind of the urban myth of when it looks like you're looking up, but you're actually going down. So the myth here is, if you put like baby powder on the back of your car, and like put it in neutral, yeah, you could get the
Yeah.
handprints and stuff like that. But
Have you guys ever done that?
no,
I've heard
'cause
about that place. But
it's on.
Fallen right now.
Yeah, it's on a major, Joe, it's on a major highway,
Oh, okay.
and so I don't recommend anybody going there unless you talk to like, the sheriffs or something like that, just to like kind of do of like a thing of see if we can do it for like 2 minutes. But you put it in neutral, and I've seen videos of it, of your car, and it looks like you're going up, but it's actually down. It's just an
optical illusion or something.
yeah. But the myth is,
Story
somebody
about
died on the side of the road, and things like that, and you put the baby powder on, and there's
Children's fingerprints pushing the car.
pushing your car up the hill and stuff like that. So, but you know what? There's always a little truth in myths.
Yeah. It
There's
starts
always-
out somewhere. Stories.
So those are some of the really kind of cool things in North Carolina. Of course, the state house and the battleship and everything else that we have around here. But the battlefields are no joke here, man.
Isn't there there's a plantation down there that's historically haunted.
Yeah,
I forget the name of it.
Yeah, I don't know the name of Joe.
It escapes me.
Yeah, there's things here, but it's just like I said with Nelson and what he's doing with his historical society of for here in North Carolina, and really giving investigators a really good name of what he's doing is incredible. And he's very selective, which I understand, because sometimes you need to be that way, and he's got about 7 locations that they do investigations with, and not jealous, man. I'm actually proud of him. of getting that information and keeping those
They're doing
locations
it the
where we can
right
include.
way.
Yeah, yeah, no problem, man.
Well, I can't believe time flew by as fast as it has. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Before we
Yeah.
go, just a few quick things. Actually, in 2 weeks, Chris and Steve, if you guys want to join me, I was going to do a presentation on hosting a paranormal event.
Yeah.
So let me
Yeah,
know if you guys want to join me. I'd love to have you guys on.
Yeah, we'll get linked up and see what we can do.
Okay, perfect. I'll definitely reach out to both of you in the group chat that he set up today, and we'll figure that out. But yeah, so join us in 2 weeks at 9 p.m. Eastern, and I still have to put it together, but once I talk to Chris and Steve, I might have more information to add to it anyway. So join us to learn how to set up a paranormal event and help some of these historical locations raise the money that they need to keep going.
Yeah.
And also you can follow us on Facebook where all of our videos are located, and I'm still in the process of uploading them to our YouTube channel. You can find that at Ghost Education 101 as well. And thank you guys for joining us. Before we go, can you take turns to let everybody know where they can find you?
Who's going
Find me here or either on my sofa watching television. Georgia Paranormal Investigations. You'll see, we have our Facebook page, our YouTube, where we post public location evidence. We don't post any private home investigation evidence. So we have some that are some EVPs, but doesn't disclose anything personal. But also, you guys, when you have people ask you about education things, please feel free, send them to Ghost Ed, to the video archives, because it's such valuable information. I mean, it's they can get a better free education than that. They don't have to buy anything.
Yeah, you can find our 100 Lives, Twitter through TikTok. Most of the things we do is on our Facebook group page. We really interact through that. And then this summer we are working with Raven Paranormal Events of really kind of going through everything from the Mill Paracon that's coming up next weekend. Through like direct clinic, we have a lot of things going on, but I just really appreciate it. And if you need to contact me, you can contact me at ohldavidtaylor@gmail.com, or you can contact my partner, Christy Grissom at Christy Paranormal@gmail.com, if you'd like to be a guest on the show or kind of work with us, because have truck will travel. So
okay. I guess I'll go next. We're on Facebook. You can find me personally at Chris George on Facebook, or Anubis Paranormal Research Organization. And then we have all of our group pages from our different chapters like I said, the group pages with attached to that part. We also have a email address that you could reach us at, and that's Anubis Paranormal Research Org at gmail.com. And we also have a webpage at anubisparanormal.wixsite.com/APRO.
You can find Transcend Paranormal on Facebook and Instagram. You can find myself on Facebook and Instagram as well, along with TikTok. We'll warn you now, if you do follow my TikTok, you will see me shirtless. But you can also find Campfire Chronicles on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as well.
And me? Well, you can find me get in touch with me through the Warren Legacy Foundation. I guess it's warrenlegacy.com. My email is jfrankie@warrenlegacy.com. I also have a personal Facebook page. You can look me up, Joe Frankie, FRANKE. Or email me at ghost1@comcast.net. Probably easy to get through the warrenlegacy.com email.
Okay, good.
I'm not hard to find. Call Heather.
If you need help finding any of these guys, just let me know. I can help you guys. I'll point you in the right direction.
Thank you.
And you can find Ghost Education 101 on Facebook and on YouTube, as well as you can find my website, heatherleephd.com, or at Dr. Heatherly on Facebook, where I have all the information about upcoming events, the books I have coming out later this year, and several other projects, which we hope they're like right there. I can't announce it yet, but we hope that they'll be able to be announced later in the next month or two. So stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you guys for joining us.
One other thing, if I can, American Paranormal Magazine came out today with different states, and we're in the cover of the Georgia edition, but there's some really good articles in those magazines. I have an article in the Georgia edition one.
Okay.
My team's on the cover story, and it's free online to read. So just American Paranormal Magazine, there's some great information there.
We're in the Colorado one. We're a cover page. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So,
they do a great job.
We're the cool kids.
Again, thank you guys for joining us today, and hopefully we can have you on the show again in the future.
Yeah.
Thanks, Heather. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Good night.
Bye-bye, Heather.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Nice to meet you.